At the beginning of the chapter, we see Yara, who has come to help Wonder Woman fight Eros. As soon as she arrives, she says to Wonder Woman that she was thankful because Wonder Woman called her. She says that she was wondering when will she and Wonder Woman will ever hang out again. Wonder Woman says to her that next time she promises that the situation will be much better, and says that now that Yara was here, defeating Eros will not take much time. Eros sees Yara and yells her name. Then he says to Yara that she was the last person he wanted to meet. Yara looks at him in anger and says that the feeling was mutual, and then she commands her steed to attack Eros. With the help of her flying steed, she was able to get over Eros, and then she says to him that now his size was matching his big ego, and that he finally is embracing the monster that he is. Yara jumps on him and hangs onto Eros's body. Eros says to her that she has spent enough time by his side, and she knows that this was not his true form or his true nature. He says that showing up as a giant statue just to scare humans was not his way of doing things. Eros then pushes Yara away from him and she falls to the ground. Eros says that he was here to spread belief, but that was not working, and unfortunately, he had to use fear to accomplish his goal as it was the most effective way. Wonder Woman comes and helps Yara to get back on her feet. She tells Yara that it was not Eros's real form or body, and that by destroying his avatar they won't be able to hurt him, but it will send a message to the gods. Yara then says to Wonder Woman that it means that they will have to destroy his avatar. She then says that if she knew this before, she would have brought a sledgehammer with her. Eros points his bow towards Yara and Wonder Woman and says to Yara that he doesn't want Yara to come here today. Then he shoots an arrow that hits Wonder Woman, and although she blocks it, still the force behind the arrow sends her flying into a wall. Then he turns towards Yara and says to her that he doesn't want to fight her, and tells her that he has already made up his mind, but he still cares for her, so he is asking her to leave. Yara in anger says to Eros that she doesn't care. Whatever love was between them, it was all an illusion that Eros made himself. She asks him if he has forgotten that all of that was not real. Eros, while pointing his bow towards Yara, says that it became something real, and he knows that Yara still feels it. Yara in anger jumps towards him and says that it seems like he wants proof. Then Yara punches Eros in his face and tells him that it was what she felt, and tells him to go back to Olympus. Eros says to her that even if she doesn't like him coming here, his arrival was necessary. He says to her that the gods of Olympus were dying, and he was hoping to reach Wonder Woman's rational side, and now that Yara was her he wants to reach her rational side as well. Yara says to him that if Hera was after all this, Eros already knows what her answer will be. Eros says to Yara that if the gods die, what she thinks will happen to Amazon, the Well of Souls, and the barrier that protects the island. He reaches out his hand toward Yara and says to her that they should be on the same side. Yara smacks his hand and says that Eros should think about the things that he did in the past. He lied to her and sold her out to Hera, and even if she forgives him for all this, she still can't forget that Eros killed her mother. She jumps and kicks Eros in his face while saying all this. Eros falls to the ground, and while getting up he says that he apologizes for what he has done to her. But because of what he did, Yara has become the woman that she is now. And even if he could change anything he has done, he will not change it. Yara gets angry and says to him that if he realizes what he was saying right now, he kicks him again in his face and says to him that he should just admit that he was a villain. Eros gets up and says that he is a god and that the concept of mortality is made for humans. It doesn't matter to him that how Yara sees him. He was as just speaking the truth. Yara was about to punch him when Wonder Woman rushes in and says to her that Eros was just trying to get into her head, and says to her that they have to use lasso quickly. Wonder Woman and Yara both tie Eros with the golden rope. Eros says to Wonder Woman that using the golden perfect against him was a bold move even for her. Wonder Woman tells Yara to hold the rope tight, and although lasso will not break, Eros will struggle to get free. Yara tightens her grip around the ropes and asks Wonder Woman how many names this rope has. Wonder Woman tells her that it has many names and different titles for different uses, and that she will soon learn them. Eros smiles and says to Yara that she should learn all of them as soon as she can because time was running out. Wonder Woman then asks Eros if that was the case, then why was he smiling? Eros, while smiling, says to them that they will soon find it out. Meanwhile, in the city, everyone was staring at the flying pyramids above their heads. Siggy sees a bright light and says that it was a fake dawn, which is a bad omen. Steve says to Barbara that he has a feeling that the thing which was emerging from that bright light was not their friend, and he asks her what was. Barbara tells him that it was a Titan. She says that has read about Titans in her archaeological studies, but she never thought that she will ever see a real one, and especially the Titan which was in front of them. She says that it was Hyperion, the father of the sun and moon and the dawn. Steve says that he will lure the Titan away from the people and says to Barbara that he will be using her bike. Barbara gets shocked and tells Steve that it was a Titan who was in existence even before Tyke, and tells him that it was a fool's idea to try to lure him. Steve says that he has a plan and says to Siggy that he will be needing a sword for this mission. Siggy and Steve both get on the bike and ride toward the Titan. On the other side, Wonder Woman asks Eros to tell them the real reason why he was there. Because of the golden rope, they knew that Eros will tell the truth, and he says that what he told them before about the gods was the reality. His grandmother, Hera, was aiming to fix all this. Wonder Woman says that Hera uses mind control on people, and that was unacceptable, so they have to stop all of this. Eros laughs and says that what Hera did before was just a little experiment to convince the gods who were against her plan. He says the real work has started now. Then he looks at Yara and says to her that a new era was upon them, and he wants Yara to be by his side when this all will begin. Yara kicks him and says that it was not going to happen. Wonder Woman stops her and says that they can still get information from him. But by then, Eros freed himself and he slaps Yara, sending her flying to a wall. Then he says to them that he willingly told the truth to them, but they left him no choice. He then steps on Wonder Woman. Yara yells at him, but Wonder Woman tells her that she was fine. Wonder Woman pushes Eros's foot back and throws him away. Then Yara takes out her rope and throws it towards Eros. The rope gets tied around Eros' neck, and Wonder Woman punches him with a force so great that he goes flying out of the floating pyramid. Everyone down in the city sees Eros's huge body flying out of the pyramid, including Siggy. Steve tells him to keep his eyes on the road. Siggy says that Steve doesn't need to worry about his life, because all he wants is either victory or a warrior's death. Steve rides the bike toward the stairs at high speed, and Siggy jumps and he penetrates his sword into Hyperion's leg. Now they had Hyperion's attention, and it started chasing Steve. Wonder Woman and Yara get out of the pyramid and see Steve and Siggy luring the Titan. Hyperion shoots fireballs at Steve, but Wonder Woman saves him. Wonder Woman goes to them and tells them that she will take care of it, but Steve says that he has a plan. Wonder Woman says to Hyperion that whatever Hera promised him, whether it was freeing the Titans or something else, it was not worth all of this. Hyperion says that this destruction has fallen upon them because of their acts. He further says to Wonder Woman that they will destroy Thamsira. Yara tells him to stop being dramatic. Eros says to her that she broke his heart, and he says she can't hurt him any more than she already has. Yara says to him that then this will be painless. She attacks his head, because of which his avatar falls apart. From his avatar, Eros's real body emerges, and he shoots an arrow at Yara. Yara dodges it and attacks Eros while saying that he missed. She already saw this attack many times before. Eros smiles and says die, he misses. By that time the arrow changes its direction and comes back. Meanwhile, when Wonder Woman was fighting Hyperion, Hera's voice starts to come and she puts everyone under her mind's control, including Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman sees the time when she was young. She sees the time when she took part in a ceremony that takes place after every century for the first time. She remembers how it all felt, and when she went to a cave and saw Magala's dead body. In the cave, she sees the trail of emerald flames. She knew that someone was stealing it, so she ran and follows it. Here she meets the wife of Hades, Persephone. And that's all for today, guys. Stay tuned to get more new videos. Stay safe and keep watching.